Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sun Up on 7. It's time for our next conversation. As you know, the Pfizer vaccine for children 5 to 11 years is here to protect them from COVID. They got here on Saturday, and the Ministry of Health has partnered with the Ministry of Education to start a rollout program in schools. So this is a conversation that's very opportune. There's a lot of people that have been asking, how does the dosage work? Why should my children get vaccinated? And of course, there has been questions through the chat, I'm guessing, about those probing things, because people want to address that fear, get comfortable, and find out why children should get vaccinated. So to give us the insight into this vaccine, we have Dr. Fernando Cuellar here with us in his bright orange, sunny shirt here.
At least sunset for
Yes,
you,
of
man,
course,
watch out.
right? Offset the cloudiness outside, no?
Yes,
We
so
need that.
you're bringing it for us. How are you, Doc?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm
Good
fine.
to have you again here.
Thank you,
with
guys.
us.
You are dance wear no?
Definitely, and I'll stand up.
I love these
Go to work.
doctors
Okay.
today and all. Like they
Okay.
come with
It's
the
the
good
vibe.
energy.
It's the
Although
vibe.
they come for give we some serious
I want-
information, they come with energy.
I want some
What do you want to
reggae or some
Oh, you
cranium.
want reggae?
Or
All right, so
cranium
some
or-
reggae for Dr.
or soca.
Cuellar.
You realize he telling
Cranium.
artists too as well, You see, he said cranium, you know here?
All right.
Or bujo.
Or would oh my
Abdul, did you get that?
Get you in trouble with the player or bujo.
No, we don't believe in our trouble. We met the trouble yet. But it's so great to have you back,
Sure.
Doc, especially, about something that, we just get with shipment in Saturday. Parents are asking a lot of questions. People are wondering. I want to address first, as everybody's thinking, the dosage, because we understand the dosage when it came to us for the Pfizer, even for our boosters.
Right.
People are getting their second booster upon booster. And so talking about children, they're a little bit different. So
Right.
can you explain to us why they're different and also explain the dosage
Right.
for them?
Right. I think that's a good jump off point for us to start. We shouldn't consider children as little adults. We should not consider children as little adults, meaning that, okay, you have an adult dose, so we could just cut it in half, and then you come up with one dose for children, no? That is why it has taken so long to develop this particular form of the vaccine, okay? Because they had to do tests and experiments and studies to see what dosage would most likely help them enough. As a matter of fact, these vaccines, if you look at them, come different color coded
Yes.
than the first ones, so that you don't have any possibility of error.
mix up.
So you know that this color are for 5 to 11. And they came up with that after multiple clinical studies. Now, this is what will help with this range, okay? From the very beginning, we know that everybody, all humans, everybody, all populations needed a vaccine, okay? But of course, we started with the adults, okay? And see how that went. And then in the pipeline, they were developing the vaccine for this age group, no? So there's a particular vaccine color-coded, and it comes in a particular strength. And we know that for this one, so far, the complete course is made up of 2 shots, okay, and 3 weeks in between. So, and then we have to watch it and see if we need a booster 6 months down the road, 8 months down the road. It's all a work
That
in
was my
progress.
next question.
It's all a
You
work
need
in
booster
process.
too?
I wouldn't be surprised for that we come up that say 6 months down the road after your second shot, you need one booster for children. Just like how we might need an early booster for adults.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of that is still being discussed, debated, and agreed upon, no?
So right now
Okay.
we do just have the 2
5
dosage,
to 11.
1 and then 3 weeks in.
Yeah, and it's important for these children to be vaccinated, no?
Yeah.
Because they do suffer from the illness. We have seen children with coronavirus, SARS-CoV, and they can also serve as transmitters, no?
Mini spreaders.
Mini spreaders.
Some people have called them silent spreaders.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So they don't show much signs many times, but then go home to granny, auntie, and that's how they help spread the
I
virus.
think that's
Okay.
why some parents don't feel like their child needs
Exactly,
to be vaccinated because they're like,
exactly.
oh, my child don't really get sicker,
Yeah,
so but
yeah.
your child could get you sick or get granny sick.
Correct. So that's something important. The partnership makes sense in terms of education and health. Do it the correct way. I have questions, for example. Suppose one parent said yes and one parent said no.
Mm-hmm.
That one happened for
Yeah.
sure, no? So does the
Rock, paper,
consent
scissors,
form
I don't know.
does the consent form forces both parents to sign or one parent to sign? That is logistics and legalities that will have to be sorted out, because sometimes you know how our family structures are many times, where baby daddies and mommy thing and so forth. I want me picnic and she no want, or she no want, and it could create some
Well, as long as you're
Doctor.
paying child support, then they have a word, no?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I checked last night, and we have about a little over 70,000 children
Right.
in this age group, so that's quite a bit. And I'm hoping that we've made the proper forecasting in terms of getting the amount needed. I want a little bit more, just so
Only actually
just so allow wastage and so forth, and hopefully we don't have this expiration of vaccine that we saw in the adult
Sure.
one, no? Because then people will give us, donate to us, or we buy from us. Say, well, we
not
give
using
you a donate, and then half of the bunch will not have to throw away.
So don't you think that's like we waste
Well,
our vaccines in that case? Because
yeah, but
we get all the vaccines. We're very blessed to have.
Yeah.
We have Johnson and Johnson. We have AstraZeneca. We have Pfizer. We have what the other one to again? There's some like next.
Yeah, we
All
are
of
blessed.
it.
We are lucky because just last week or week before last, our neighbors right across the border, Mexicans, they don't have access to the Pfizer vaccine for this age group. Okay, the leadership in Mexico agreed to get vaccines from Cuba, the Abdala, and the Mexican medical community, and the whole population is up in arms, saying that we don't want a vaccine. That vaccine hasn't been approved. We mix with
Yeah.
so we want the Pfizer vaccine, and thankfully we have it, no?
So one of the things that I've been hearing from conversations with persons have been that they fear that getting the children vaccinated at an early age might affect their development. Is there any way how this vaccine affects the development of a child physically, mentally?
So far,
Any
far not yet.
Okay.
That is an old topic of debate,
Uh-huh.
even from our childhood vaccines. There were a lot of skepticism and suspicion about vaccines, about lead poisoning and autism development, but those theories or suggestions have waned off over time because it's not the case now. You do have, like every other vaccine, you have minor, mini minor side effects.
Side effects.
And you do have some children who develop side effects, no? But those are out of 1,000, maybe one a day, one got one least something, no? But it's generally safe. And that's why it has taken so long at this point. Remember that 2 years plus within this thing,
Yes.
and we just to come up with this age group. So I'm sure that the due diligence has been done
Yeah.
but we have our vaccine naysayers from the very beginning, so I don't think that they want
I know.
no suddenly change, no?
I know there have been people saying like, okay, if my child get this vaccine, how I monitor? Like, because if you do anything out of the way, I just feel like something gone wrong in the vaccine.
Yeah.
So
Right.
how I feel have that comfort and that peace of mind. Because I know I had a parent say she knows about the vaccine with the menstrual cycle. It's like, how if my child don't have a menstrual cycle? They
Yeah.
just bring the menstrual
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
Like, all kind of like craziness. But you know, it's just the franticness of being overworrying and
Right,
fearful
right.
of like, I don't know what is thing to come because people ask questions and it's
I think we should be careful and not call these people crazies or paranoids. I think we should address their fears head on.
Right.
Yes.
Definitely, and try to reassure them with science and talking to them and trust, or try to gain their trust. I feel many times that people not trust governments and officials and
Wonder why.
politicians. So if people if they can interact with their physicians and nurses and their caregivers that they have had a long-standing relationship with, then it might be a better source of messaging
Yeah.
than that, and just to gain their trust, because I do hear that even in adults, no, people come to me and say, Doc, from the time I get the vaccine, my body changed. How it changed? I don't know,
Something
but it changed.
But they just feel it in their
Yeah,
heart. Like,
that's-
I get headaches out of
Yeah,
nowhere. And like,
yeah.
sometimes you wonder, and are we making this? Is it just because we're fearful? Because sometimes that happens, you know.
Yeah.
Where because you're so fearful, these
Yeah, yeah.
take place.
Yeah.
But the overall advantage is that it helps. It lessens severe diseases and minimize death.
Yeah.
And that you can't argue that.
Yeah.
That's worldwide. So
I hear you.
if
sure.
it's
So,
necessary.
Doc, so we when the COVID vaccine was rolled out, we had a conversation here about what is in the vaccine. So you already mentioned that the dosage for children is less. However, can you enlighten us about what is in the vaccine, just for again bring out the
it's the
refresher to our
Pfizer,
viewers?
the same basis of the mRNA, okay, where you introduce DNA material into your body for stimulate an immune response, so it could stimulate antibodies. And like I say, it had to be carefully studied so that we get the correct dose that will fit the age group, no? 5 to 11. And remember, we might even think down the road we might go down to children, newborns, and so forth.
I mean,
So everything is a work in process. But if we have the opportunity to put it now, then let's do it, because that 70,000 picnic, whether about Belize, if we could hopefully get 3/4 of them or 90% of them vaccine, it will stop the transmission to a large extent.
Doc, what happens? I know you mentioned the dosage period. So is, take the first dose, then 3 weeks after you take the next
Right.
dose. Okay, so say we have a parent that makes their child take the first dose,
Uh-huh.
but you get frightened, it's like, you know what, and I'll do that. What is the, the overall situation for a child that doesn't take their second dose?
Well, their immunity won't be as developed against the COVID virus. Instead of developing 90 antibodies, they might only develop 50. So, be fully immunized,
And so,
only partially.
that
So, you
Oh.
still run the risk of being exposed to contracting the illness, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they can take it, like, set aside, okay, they realize 5 weeks into it.
Yeah, you could still go ahead and take it. No, you could take
Okay.
it at 3 weeks and a half.
Okay.
Okay, that kind of thing.
Can you help out the parents on how to have this conversation with their children? And I'm saying this because yesterday, while we were sitting on the table at my parents' house, my 6-year-old nephew was already asking my sister, like his mom, if he's gonna get vaccinated, and then so she was wary about it, and he was like, "But why?" He was like, "Everybody's gonna get vaccinated, COVID." Like he already knows that
Right.
he's 6-year-old.
That's
But
an
then-
excellent point, because
Yeah.
we tend to underestimate children,
Oh, yes, they're
and,
very
and
smart.
especially Belizean children. Right. So then they know what it happened. So
Right.
Yeah, challenge
treat
you.
them maturely, as adult as possible, to explain to them that this is our treatment so that they don't get sick, and take it from there. I mean, of course, you might not need only one conversation. You need several conversations, but definitely, I think the hurdle will be convincing the parents,
It is.
and
True.
not so much the children, no, because the children.
I feel like the kids kind of
yeah.
they're very adaptable when it comes to the mask wearing, with every single thing. So
Correct.
wash their hands, and so like they're very on it.
Correct.
And so I think there are probably gonna be some issues where a child wants to take the vaccine and the parent don't want to take the vaccine.
Yeah.
So we have to have consent. So
Yeah.
and I know that was actually something for you. You didn't like the whole fact that we removed the mask mandate.
Oh yes.
How do you feel right now?
I'm still at the same position. I definitely made it very clear that I had hoped that we do not remove the mask mandate. And of course, mask mandates and medicine isn't in a bubble. You have to think about the country, economy, and so forth. But I couldn't find one economic factor that would have been affected by keeping the mask. Okay? That the states, for example, the mask mandate has become something political, Republican against Democrats. We don't have that problem here. I know if you use mask, you're a PUP, and if you don't use mask, you're a UDP. Thank God we don't get to that point.
Okay.
And I know, and the people from tourism, for example, I want to debate them that, do people look at Belize and say, do they have a mask mandate? Yes, then I know when I Belize. Or do they not have? Then I when I Belize. No. As a matter of fact, I think what governs them, though, when they put with a place tier 3, are fighting more than anything based on our numbers. So that's what people look at and say, well, a high increase of COVID, I believe, so make us just back off a little bit. And I do hope that keeping masks in public places would have helped, or will be helping, apart from hand washing and the social distance and so forth. Let me say, there is no way in hell that I want to agree to any more lockdowns. Okay? We cannot afford it. So not even go there that I did advocate for then draconian China-type measures. No, we need to live with it. We need to push on, but push on carefully. Make sure that we still push the message with the hand washing and the safe distances. And yes, make we get with Carnival and tell the Carnival people that part of your costume and be one pretty mask.
Right.
Okay? And if you want got fest and that, when you're the fest, that are just people together, people to drink, people to laugh, people to spit up on each other, and that's the way a lot of.
Yeah.
So the drinking and the gathering, that's way about things. So
I hear you.
as much as you could, you go to a restaurant, you're asked to put on a mask. Of course, you don't carry a mask with a zip where you just put in your mouth.
I saw some people like.
Well, of course, but you could take off your mask while you're around your table.
Yeah.
But the moment you move from your table, either to the bathroom or to the pay, then you put on your mask.
Yeah. So, Doc,
Any lead thing will help.
as we wrap up this conversation, can you give us, especially parents or anybody, some tips as to how we can complement children's health status along with the vaccine?
Oh, well, I do think that overall our awareness for health has been increased over the past 2 years. Now,
Had to.
children, they wash their hands much more than before.
Oh yeah.
And so we see less diarrheas, we see less other types of sicknesses that are transmitted this way. So it does help. It does help that people's exposure to these public health measures has helped all around.
I think we're getting a change. I'm imploring for parents out there to just, like you said, you're not a trusted politician, that's fine. Trust your medical professionals, the ones you've been taught to a long time.
Correct.
Take your picnic to when they have a big cold and the fret and everything. Like, ask the questions, ask as much question. I don't believe there's a dumb question because you are living with this fear, and I'm sure all of those professionals will definitely be able to answer whatever it is. If you have your research, you're going to Mr. Google and say, all right, doc, I'm going to learn this X, Y, and Z. Tell me about this or so.
Yeah.
Bring it to them and make sure you have those important conversations
yeah.
because we got this and we don't want to waste these vaccines.
I, for one, do encourage people to research, to inform. Check with Dr. Google. But before you make with, I don't know, one of them will say, no mess with them, get confused. Or check with Dr. Google, then come to us, let us discuss it. And many times sorting out is needed. The message that Dr. Google sends, no?
I agree. And it was also good practice that I saw parents going with their children to get vaccinated because they were like, I don't know what's going to happen in the school. What if my child is going through a moment of anxiety?
Yeah.
Then I'm there to address it. And of course, I'm seeing with my eyes what they're doing with my kids. So that was a good
That's a
practice.
strategy
what
that the
parents
schools
did.
can implement.
Yeah.
Know that the day that they are, because they are scheduling the days so
Right.
that the parent can be there to
Yeah.
reassure themselves and the children,
And the children, exactly.
that it's safe, no?
Exactly. So do we have your song ready?
What, already?
Wait, yes, you guys
I
will
felt
have the
that was
Do we
reggae
have reggae?
or the what we say, Bujaman or...
What?
Are we getting up? He's like, okay, we're getting up.
That's all, okay.
Oh, we're getting up. Okay.
Okay, look.
Let's learn some move from Doc today.
How you do it? How you do it? Doc?
When it's skink?
What is this song?
Hey, hey,
Okay. You have to go down on the ground and
Hey.
do this song. Oh.
Okay.
We'll be
Doc,
right back, guys.
thank you so
After
much.
this commercial break, we're going to be talking to Gwen Liz about their STAR students and what's their plans for the future. Stay tuned for the exciting conversation. We'll be right back.